Okay, so I want you to picture a train platform at night. And I don't mean a bustling commuter hub at rush hour.
Right, where everyone is just elbowing each other out of the way to get to the turnstile.
Exactly, not that at all.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine this quiet, almost forgotten space in the absolute deepest hours of the evening. We are standing at Marrowgate Station.
It's completely empty.
Yeah, the platform is practically abandoned, and then the last train of the night pulls in. Its windows are glowing with this rich amber light against a backdrop of heavily falling snow.
Oh, that is such a specific mood.
It really is, right? There's a profound, almost heavy quietness to it all. It's the specific hush of a late departure, where the only real movement is the snow drifting down. And, the soft clouds of breath rising in the freezing air.
You can almost feel it.
You really can. You can feel the chill biting right through your winter coat, which is just completely contrasted with that warm amber promise of the carriages waiting on the tracks. It's an incredibly evocative image.
It really is.
There is this beautiful isolation to it, but also a deep romanticism tied to the whole idea of a midnight departure.
It immediately transports you, I think, because there is something universally understood about the atmosphere of a night train waiting at a snow-dusted platform.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond just being a physical location.
Yeah. How so?
Well, it acts as an emotional starting line. It represents a threshold. And when we look at the specific journey we are analyzing today...
Journey to Evermoor, right?
Exactly. This beautifully documented experience of a woman named Cora Bellamy taking the midnight train to the mountain town of Evermoor. We are presented with an environment that completely strips away the noise of the everyday world.
It really forces a perspective shift.
It does. That glowing amber window against the cold night immediately establishes this sharp dichotomy between the harsh, indifferent reality outside and the warm, insulated microcosm inside the carriage.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because on the surface, what we are looking at today could just be read as a really simple itinerary.
It's just two people on a train.
Right. Two travelers, Cora Bellamy and this composer named Julian, who just happened to sit across from one another on a slow train, winding up into the mountains. But our mission for this deep dive is, it's so much bigger than just recounting who sat where.
Oh, absolutely. It's a goldmine for psychological analysis.
It really is. We are going to use this specific quiet journey to explore the deep psychology of what it actually means to go home. We are looking at the unique, almost magical phenomenon of transit-induced intimacy.
Which is such a fascinating concept on its own.
Completely. And we are going to explore how small-town traditions act as these massive, unshakable anchors in a world that feels like it's just constantly spinning out of control.
Yeah, we really need those anchors.
We do. So if you are listening to this on your own commute right now, or maybe while you're folding laundry or something, we aren't just taking a ride to Evermoor today. We are looking at the architecture of human connection in the spaces between where we've been and where we are going.
This specific account serves as a perfect crystalline case study for the human need for what psychologists and anthropologists call liminal spaces.
Liminal spaces. That's a term that gets thrown around a lot lately.
It does, but it's very specific here. Those are the in-between moments of our lives. Liminality is, by definition, the state of transition. You have left one room, but you have not yet entered the next.
You're just standing in the hallway.
You are in the hallway. And the fascinating thing about the hallway is that the normal rules of society, of your identity, and even of time, they temporarily cease to apply.
Because you aren't anywhere.
Exactly. Cora's journey on this train is the ultimate liminal experience. She is no longer the person she was in the city, but she has not yet reassumed her old identity as a resident of Evermoor.
She is entirely suspended.
Suspended in amber light, almost literally. And what happens inside that suspension is what makes this dynamic so incredibly rich to explore.
We really need to start right there on the platform with Cora, because her physical state and the choices she makes before she even boards the train, they tell us volumes about where her head is at.
They really do. The setup is crucial.
So she is returning to Evermoor for the first time in 3 long years. She had left this small mountain town for the city, and from what we know, she never quite found her way back to it until this very night.
3 years is a long time to be away from your roots.
It is. So she is standing under the station clock, her suitcase is at her feet, and she has her scarf wound twice around her neck. She's just watching her breath rise in the cold, waiting for the conductor.
Bundle up against the elements. And probably against everything else, too.
Right. But here is the critical detail in all of this. She deliberately chose the all-night train. She absolutely could have flown.
It would have been so much easier.
Way easier. She could have taken a much faster, more direct route, but she booked this incredibly long, slow journey, winding up through the snowbound hills entirely on purpose.
It wasn't a logistical necessity. It was a choice.
Exactly. She actively sought out the slowness of it. And the text notes, she did this specifically to remember how to feel like she belonged somewhere again.
That intentional pursuit of slowness is the absolute key to understanding her psychological state. We can really think of this intentional slowing down as the creation of a buffer zone.
A buffer zone like that.
Yeah. When we look at modern travel, particularly air travel or high-speed rail, there is a widely recognized psychological dissonance that occurs. Your physical body is transported across vast geographical distances at hundreds of miles an hour.
But your brain is still back at the departure gate.
Right. Your mind, your emotional state, simply cannot process the transition that quickly. You step onto a plane in one world, say a bustling metropolis, and you step off a few hours later in a completely different one.
Like a quiet coastal town, or in this case, a snowy mountain village.
Exactly. And this hypermobility causes a kind of emotional whiplash. The speed of the city, which seems to have completely overwhelmed Cora over the past 3 years, demands a constant, frenetic forward momentum.
You can't ever stop moving in the city.
No, you can't. By choosing the slow train, she is forcing a deceleration. She is demanding that her external environment match the internal pacing she requires to shed the heavy armor of the city.
I hear that, but let me play devil's advocate for a second. Because in our modern world, taking the slow route when a fast route is readily available seems almost, self-indulgent.
Or at the very least, wildly inefficient.
Right. It's like deliberately choosing dial-up internet when you have fiber optics right there in the wall. If you want to go home, if you are deeply craving that feeling of belonging and safety, wouldn't you want to get there as fast as humanly possible?
You think so?
Why prolong the time spent out in the freezing cold on an empty platform?
Well, that is a very modern, efficiency-obsessed way to look at it. But belonging isn't just a physical location you can drop yourself into like a pin on a map.
It's not just GPS coordinates.
Right, it's a state of mind that requires extensive preparation. If we go back to your dial-up analogy, if you plug a dial-up modem into a fiber optic port, the system crashes.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
The hardware simply can't handle the sudden influx of data. Cora's psychological hardware needs time to reboot. That transitional time is a psychological necessity to shed one identity and prepare for another.
Because she's been a city person for 3 years.
Exactly. For 3 years, she has operated under the survival rules of the city. If she were to fly, she would arrive in Evermoor, still wearing that exact same city identity.
The guardedness, the hypervigilance, all of that defensive posture.
Yes. Think about her scarf, wound twice around her neck. She is literally and figuratively guarded. She's bundled up defensively against the elements. The slow journey winding up into the hills isn't just about covering physical distance.
It's about unraveling the scarf.
Beautifully said. It is about providing the necessary hours for that scarf to be unwound, for those ingrained defenses to be lowered, layer by layer, before she actually arrives.
So the journey itself is the therapy required to survive the destination. It's not just a means to an end, it's an active process of shedding.
It is active, yes,
Yeah.
even though she's just sitting there.
And it's that intentional slowing down, that deliberate creation of the buffer zone that actually creates the fertile ground for everything that happens next. Because this brings us to the moment Cora boards the train.
The transition from the platform to the carriage.
Right. The conductor calls the final boarding for Evermoor, and she climbs into this old-fashioned carriage. It has a small table by the window and these soft lamps casting everything in a very warm golden light.
Very cozy.
And sitting right across from her is a stranger.
The contrast between the environment she just left and the one she enters is incredibly stark. She goes from the biting cold, the vast empty platform, and total physical isolation right into a space of contained golden warmth.
But she is not alone anymore.
Right, and this is where the variables of our liminal space become complex and interactive. She isn't just alone in the hallway now, she's in the hallway with someone else.
So, she sits across from this man who already has his notebook open. He has a cup of tea cooling beside it, completely untouched. And before they even really exchange pleasantries or introduce themselves, he asks her a rather unusual question.
What does he ask?
He asks, "Mind if I open the window a crack? Just for a moment. I like the cold air before we leave." And Cora lets him. He slides it open just enough to let in a thin breath of winter.
Just a tiny crack.
Yeah. And the cold air rushes in, bringing with it the smell of snow, the sharp scent of coal smoke, and that particular hush of a station at night.
We should look really closely at that sensory detail, because it is deeply functional. Why does he want the cold air? Why does he actively seek out the smell of coal smoke and snow when he is already warm inside the carriage?
Right. Why mess with the cozy vibe?
Because this man, Julian, is establishing a physical grounding mechanism. Before a long journey, especially one that takes place entirely overnight where the visual references outside will be completely obscured by darkness and snow.
You can't see anything out the window anyway.
Exactly. So humans often seek a visceral sensory anchor. The sudden blast of cold air, the sharp acrid scent of the coal, the specific hush of the snow. These are undeniable physical realities.
It's proof that he's actually there.
Right. He is literally breathing in the reality of the departure point. He needs to ground himself in the physical world of Marrowgate Station before completely surrendering to the suspended, almost dreamlike reality of the moving train carriage.
It's like taking a deep breath of oxygen before diving underwater. You just need that last tether to the surface.
That's exactly what it is.
So we learned pretty quickly that Julian is a composer, and he is traveling to Evermoor specifically for their winter festival. Apparently an old friend asked him to play in the town square on Christmas Eve, which is how the festival always closes out.
A local tradition?
Yeah. And he tells Cora, I haven't been in years, I keep meaning to visit more, and then somehow a whole year disappears. And Cora doesn't pry, she just replies, I know that feeling.
She doesn't push for details.
No, she doesn't explain her own 3-year absence, and he doesn't press her for details either. But here's where it gets really interesting to me. They fall into this immediate, easy rhythm. And I want to relate this to something I think we've all experienced.
Okay, let's hear it.
Have you ever been on like a really long flight, and within an hour you find yourself telling the stranger next to you about your childhood fears or a recent breakup? Like things you haven't even told your closest friends.
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
Right. Why are we so often infinitely more vulnerable with complete strangers in these transient environments?
What's fascinating here is that sociology has a very clear framework for this. It's often referred to as the strangers on a train phenomenon.
Oh, like the Hitchcock movie.
Well, yes, but without the murder plot. When you are sitting across from someone you have absolutely no connection to, in a vehicle that is moving between 2 points, the heavy baggage of your past and the anxious projections of your future are completely neutralized.
Because they don't know any of it.
Right. Think about the cognitive load of a normal conversation. If you talk to a family member, every single word you say is filtered through decades of history, shared expectations, and previous conflicts.
Oh yeah, every sigh has a backstory.
Exactly. And if you talk to a coworker, everything is meticulously filtered through professional preservation and office politics. You are constantly managing your image. But with a stranger in a liminal space, you exist solely in the present tense.
Because there's no history to protect and no future to worry over. They aren't going to show up at your office on Monday and use it against you.
Exactly. A vast majority of our daily psychological energy is spent either protecting our past, managing our reputation, defending our previous choices, maintaining the narrative of who we are.
Exhausting.
It is. Or we are worrying over our future, planning, anticipating threats, trying to secure our social or professional position. When you remove those two massive cognitive loads, what is left?
Just the present moment. Just sitting on the train.
Only the raw present moment. Julian doesn't need to know why Cora's years disappeared. He doesn't need a resume of her life choices. He just accepts that they did disappear because he understands the feeling on a very basic human level.
There's no judgment.
There is no judgment because there is no context for judgment to exist within. The train carriage, with its warm gold light, becomes a temporary vacuum. It is entirely sealed off from the demands and interconnectedness of society.
It's like they have both implicitly signed a temporary social contract where the only rule is, we're here right now and nowhere else.
Yes, the rules of the real world don't apply.
And as the train actually starts moving, pulling away from the fading lights of Marrowgate and climbing higher into the snow-thick hills, the world outside starts to blur.
The visual isolation begins.
Exactly. The landscape outside the window goes by in these soft blue shadows. You've got heavy white pine trees, a frozen stream catching the moonlight, maybe the tiny, distant golden light of an isolated farmhouse. And inside the carriage, they don't even talk much at first. They just fall into this shared, deeply comfortable silence.
And And that silence is incredibly revealing. It tells us so much about both their psychological states and the specific environment they are inhabiting. Think about how fraught silence between strangers usually is.
Oh, it's terrible. If you get into an elevator with someone you don't know, a 10-second silence feels agonizing.
Right. We scramble to fill it with mundane small talk about the weather or traffic because unfilled space makes us feel socially exposed and awkward. But this specific silence on the train doesn't demand small talk. It is a productive, secure silence.
Yes, and let's talk about what they're actually doing in that silence, because it's so specific and completely counter to how we usually travel now. Nobody is scrolling on a smartphone or aggressively answering work emails.
They are completely unplugged.
Cora pulls out this little notebook she always carries and starts sketching bookbinding designs. And Julian is humming quietly, working out a melody in his head, jotting notes onto his page. They are both engaged in these deeply analog, highly focused acts of creation.
Which is such a contrast to the speed of the city they left.
Totally. Bookbinding is this meticulous, physical preservation of stories. You are literally stitching pages together using leather and thread to ensure a narrative survives time. And composing music is almost the exact opposite.
How so?
Well, it's trying to capture something entirely intangible, right? A fleeting sound or a feeling, and desperately trying to pin it down onto paper before it just apparates into the air.
That is a beautiful way to contrast them. You have two people engaged in opposing but completely complementary acts of preservation and creation. One is highly tactile, requiring physical precision. The other is auditory and ephemeral.
But they both require such intense focus.
They do. They both require a state of profound presence. They require what the psychologist Csikszentmihalyi famously termed flow.
Oh, the flow state, right.
Yes. Flow is a state of complete, absorbed immersion in an activity where your sense of time distorts and your ego, your self-consciousness, essentially falls away. It is notoriously difficult to achieve a flow state when you are anxious, guarded, or feeling observed.
Which Cora was feeling earlier.
Exactly. So the fact that both Cora and Julian can easily slip into this state while sitting mere inches away from a complete stranger speaks volumes about the psychological safety of the environment they've co-created.
But is it just the fact that they are strangers, or does the environment play a bigger role? Like if they were on a bright, crowded commuter train in the glaring midday sun, passing billboards and concrete highways, I can't imagine they'd be sketching book designs and humming melodies.
It would be a completely different dynamic.
Does the extreme, isolating weather outside actually force an intimacy inside?
The environment plays a massive role. Environmental contrast is a deeply powerful psychological driver. The more hostile, vast, or indifferent the environment outside, the more secure and intimate the shelter inside feels to the human brain.
So the blizzard is actually helping.
Absolutely. We are seeing a cold, sleeping, indifferent world out there. The soft blue shadows and the frozen stream. By contrast, the carriage becomes a lifeboat.
Lifeboat in the snow.
Furthermore, there is the kinetic element of the train itself to consider. The rhythmic, steady rocking of the train carriage acts as a physical metronome. Neurologically, low-frequency, repetitive motion like rocking can actually shift our brainwaves.
Wait, really? Just the motion of the train changes your brainwaves?
It does. It mimics a heartbeat or the soothing sway of being held as an infant. It can induce mild theta brainwave states, which are deeply associated with creativity and relaxation.
That is wild.
That rhythmic rocking, combined with the visual isolation of the dark, snowy world passing by, acts as a powerful catalyst. It is highly probable that this exact specific environment is what Julian needed to access his unfinished melody. The train itself is actively assisting in the creative process.
It's doing the heavy lifting of quietness that the noise of the city couldn't do. So they are in this flow state, this shared, comfortable silence, and the journey pushes much deeper into the night.
Moving further into the liminal space.
Near midnight, the train slows down to pass through a very long stretch of tunnel. The carriage goes really dark, save for the small lamp sitting on the table between them. And when they finally emerge from the tunnel, the snow outside has thickened considerably.
A literal shift in the atmosphere.
It feels like a major transition point in the journey. The tunnel is literally a physical passage from one phase of the night right into the next.
Passing through a tunnel, especially at midnight, represents a threshold within a threshold. You're moving through the darkest, most enclosed point of the entire journey. And the behavior shift that occurs immediately upon emerging from that darkness is crucial.
It really is, because right as they emerge, the dining car steward comes through the carriage with a trolley of tea and warm bread. And Julian, without asking Cora if she wants anything, without doing the whole polite dance of, get you something?"
The social pleasantries.
Right. He just buys 2 cups of tea and hands one straight across the table to her. He simply says, "You looked cold," as his only explanation. And Cora takes it. She wraps both her hands around the warm cup, just feeling grateful for the heat.
It's such a simple gesture, but it means so much.
That moment, buying the tea without asking, feels like a massive shift in how they relate to each other.
It absolutely is a structural shift in their relationship. Up until the tunnel, they were merely co-passengers. They were sharing a physical space politely, maintaining their separate individual bubbles of flow state.
But then the tea changes things.
The act of unspoken care, noticing that someone else is cold, anticipating their physical need, and providing sustenance in the form of warm tea, shifts them from mere co-passengers to caregivers within the microcosm of the train.
Caregivers, wow.
By actively not asking her, Julian bypasses the complicated social dance of politeness where Cora might have felt obligated to decline so as not to be a financial burden or an inconvenience. He simply provides. He observes a vulnerability and addresses it directly.
It breaks whatever final layer of ice was left between them. Because right after the tea, they start talking really easily. This is where they fully embrace that no history to protect freedom we were talking about earlier.
They can finally share their stories.
They start talking deeply about Evermoor. They start sharing the highly specific lore of the destination. Cora talks about the bookshop she grew up in, helping her grandmother. And she mentions this incredibly specific, tiny detail.
The bell, right?
Yes, the bell above the door of the shop that never quite worked right. It didn't ring clearly, it just sort of clunked. I love that detail so much. That broken bell, it's like a physical fingerprint of a place. It's the imperfections that make a hometown truly recognizable, you know?
Exactly.
A perfectly working, shiny brass bell could be in literally any retail store in the world. But a broken, clunky one comes only to her grandmother's shop in Evermoor.
That observation gets to the very core of how human memory attaches to geography. The human brain does not form deep emotional attachments to perfection. Perfection is sterile, it is frictionless.
It just slides right off you.
It offers nothing for the psyche to grip onto. We attach to idiosyncrasies. The bell that doesn't ring right. The one specific floorboard in the hallway that creaks in a B-flat. The draft from a poorly sealed window in the kitchen.
Because we have to deal with them every day.
Exactly. These imperfections require our active accommodation. We have to learn to live with them, to anticipate them, and in doing so, we form a genuine relationship with a space. The space becomes unique to us because we know its flaws.
So true.
Cora's memory of the broken bell is her brain's shorthand for home. And Julian, in turn, shares his own specific lore about the town.
Yes, he tells her the origin story of the winter festival he's traveling to play in. He explains how it wasn't some corporate city-organized event with a big marketing budget.
It wasn't planned in a boardroom.
No. It started years ago as nothing more than a few neighbors dragging instruments into the square to play music in the cold. And it just grew organically, slowly, year after year, until it became something the entire town waited for every December.
It grew from the community itself.
And when Cora asks if he still plays in the square every year, he says, every year. It's become the only tradition I haven't managed to lose.
If we pull back and connect this to the broader sociological picture of why people return to places they seem to have outgrown or left behind, we see the vital function of community traditions.
Why do they matter so much?
Traditions like this grassroots festival act as a form of societal gravity. In modern life, we are incredibly atomized. We move frequently for jobs, we lose touch with our neighbors, we shed past lives, and reinvent ourselves continuously.
We're all just floating around.
Right. But a tradition that occurs at the exact same time, the exact same physical place every single year, serves as a fixed coordinate on a map that is otherwise constantly shifting.
A fixed coordinate.
Emil Durkheim, a sociologist, talked about collective effervescence. That is the feeling of belonging and energy that happens when a community gathers for a shared ritual. For Julian, who openly admits he lets whole years of his life just disappear into his work, this festival is his anchor.
It's the one thing tying him down.
It is the communal glue that draws him back, preventing him from losing his roots entirely. Even if he feels totally disconnected the other 364 days of the year, participating in that one tradition proves he still has a valid place in the framework of a community.
It's the tether that keeps him from just floating away into the ether completely. So they are sharing this tea, sharing the lore and history of Evermoor, and the night pushes on into its deepest hours.
Getting closer to dawn.
Somewhere past 1 in the morning, the steward comes back through and dims the carriage lamps even further. Most of the other passengers around them have fallen asleep under these heavy wool blankets the train provides.
The whole carriage is powering down.
And the gentle, rhythmic motion of the train, combined with the warmth of the tea and the safety of the conversation, it starts working on Cora. The text says it's like a tide pulling her towards shore. Her eyes start drifting shut. She's fighting it, but she's losing.
And here we witness another profound level of transit intimacy. Julian notices her fading. He doesn't ignore it, and he doesn't awkwardly look away. He says, "You can sleep if you'd like. I'll wake you before Evermoor."
Cora tries to do the polite thing, saying he doesn't have to stay awake just on her account. But Julian replies with this genuinely beautiful observation. He says, "I don't mind. I like watching the snow at night. It's the kind of thing that's better with someone else noticing it too."
Even if she's asleep.
Yeah, even if she is entirely unconscious, just having her physical presence there, sharing the space, makes the solitary act of witnessing the snow more meaningful for him. So given that permission, she lets herself rest. Her head leans against the cold glass of the window that's been softened by the warm air of the carriage.
Falling asleep in the presence of a stranger is the ultimate surrender of psychological and physical defense.
It's terrifying, usually.
When we sleep, we are biologically at our absolute most vulnerable. We cannot protect our belongings, we cannot monitor our facial expressions, we cannot defend ourselves against actual physical threats.
You are totally exposed.
For Cora to allow herself to be lulled to sleep by the rhythm of the train, trusting that this man she met only hours ago will stand watch and accurately wake her before her stop. It signifies complete and total trust in the shared space they have built. The liminal space of the carriage has transitioned from a neutral hallway into a genuine sanctuary.
And as she drifts in that weird, half-waking, quiet hour of the night, she feels, almost more than she hears, Julian humming again.
The melody he was working on.
It's the exact same melody he was working on earlier in the evening, but now it is a little fuller, a little more certain of itself, as though the night itself had helped him finish it. The journey actually provided the missing pieces of his composition.
Because creativity often demands exactly what this journey provided. It requires the suspension of daily routine, psychological safety, the rhythmic induction of a flow state, and the subtle, undemanding inspiration of human connection.
All the ingredients were there in that carriage.
That melody wasn't going to be forced out in a stressful, noisy studio in the city. It had to be coaxed out by the slow rhythm of the train and the quiet, trusting companionship of a stranger.
It's almost like the song itself needed the environment just as much as he did to be born. And then slowly, the transition out of the liminal space begins. Cora wakes up. The light outside the window has shifted entirely.
The night is over.
It's no longer that oppressive pitch black. It's that deep, soft blue just before the dawn breaks. The snow has finally stopped falling. The hills outside are hushed, bright white and completely still. Julian has closed his notebook. He looks over and says, "Almost there."
The destination is finally in sight.
And the very first lights of Evermoor start to appear in the distance. The old church spire, the smoke rising straight up from the chimneys in thin gray lines.
The visual shift here is crucial. They are moving rapidly from the obscured, insulated private world of the night train into the exposed, undeniable shared reality of the morning.
The spell is breaking.
The journey is officially ending. The destination is asserting itself, demanding that they resume their identities.
Cora looks out the window at the town and says, "It looks exactly the same." And she is surprised by how much overwhelming relief she feels just saying those words out loud. Julian responds with a really profound observation. He says, "Some places are good at staying themselves, even when we change around them."
It's a beautiful line.
But wait, let me push back on Julian here for a second. Do places actually stay the same? Or do we just project our memories onto them because we desperately need them to be stable anchors?
That's a very fair question.
I mean, a town over 3 years has to have changed objectively, right? Small businesses close, people move away, new people move in. The brutal winter weather literally weathers the buildings. Is Evermoor actually the same, or is Cora just seeing exactly what she needs to see to feel safe?
This raises an important question about the fundamental nature of our geographical anchors. You are entirely right that, objectively speaking, the town has altered. Paint has peeled, local politics have shifted, people have aged.
It can't be frozen in amber.
But psychologically, geographical anchors serve primarily as mirrors for our own identity. We do not need them to remain perfectly static in a literal physical sense. We need their essence, their core recognizable features. to remain static so we can measure how much we have changed against them.
Oh, that makes sense. Like checking your height against the same door frame.
Exactly. If Evermoor had transformed into a bustling metropolis with skyscrapers over those 3 years, Cora would have no baseline against which to evaluate her own growth or her own weariness.
Oh.
The church spire, the smoke from the chimneys, the broken bell, these are the constants in the algebraic equation of her life.
They are the control variables.
When Julian says places are good at staying themselves, he is acknowledging that certain environments hold on to their core identity powerfully enough to withstand the passage of time, allowing us to return to them and locate our past selves. We absolutely project our need for stability onto the architecture, yes, but certain places are built to hold that projection much better than others.
That makes total sense. We need the mirror to stay still so we can accurately see how our own reflection has aged. And as the train finally pulls into the small station, the reality of the destination fully takes over.
The journey is officially complete.
The platform is dusted in fresh, untouched snow. There's a single lantern glowing warmly by the ticket office. Cora gathers her things, but she realizes she is in no real hurry now that the moment had finally come. The buffer zone worked. She has successfully decelerated.
Exactly. The frantic survival mode energy of the city is gone. She is no longer operating on city time. She is operating on Evermoor time now.
Julian helps her down onto the snowy platform with her suitcase. The morning air is sharp and incredibly clean. And here's the final interaction between them, which I find so poignant, especially today.
What do?
They don't exchange phone numbers. They don't pull out their smartphones to follow each other on social media or LinkedIn, which would completely shatter the delicate spell of the night.
It would ruin it completely.
He just looks at her and asks, "Will I see you at the festival, Christmas Eve in the square?" And Cora says, "I think you might. My grandmother's shop is just across from there. I imagine I'll hear you before I see you."
A perfect promise.
He smiles. They stand there for just a moment, with their breath rising in clouds in the morning air, and he says, "Welcome home." She thanks him for the tea and the company, and they walk in completely opposite directions.
It is a genuinely perfect conclusion to a liminal encounter. To demand future, forced contact, to exchange numbers and force a continuation of that specific relationship into the mundane real world would be to misunderstand the magic of what just happened.
It would turn it into an obligation.
Right. They served a profound, highly specific purpose for one another within the confines of the train. They were the perfect companions for the transition. The promise of hearing the music across the square is enough. It leaves the connection open, but unforced, preserving the integrity of the liminal space they shared.
She turns toward her grandmother's bookshop, the one with the clunky, broken bell. He turns toward the town square, and as she walks away, she can hear him already humming that unfinished melody, but now it's a little closer to being complete.
That is just beautiful.
It's such a beautiful thematic tie-up. The journey gave both of them exactly what they needed without them ever having to explicitly ask for it. Cora found the slow transition, the vital deceleration necessary to truly arrive home with her soul intact.
And Julian found his music.
And Julian found the quiet space, the rhythmic flow, and the subtle human connection needed to unlock his art and finish his music.
And as the morning fully breaks, with the stars fading and the snow settling over the waking rooftops of the town, we are reminded that these spaces, these night trains, these slow buffer zones are essential mechanisms for our psychological survival.
We really can't skip over them.
We cannot simply teleport from one emotional state to another without consequence. We require the journey. We require the quiet carriage, the shared silence, and occasionally the unspoken kindness of a stranger to help us safely bridge the gap between who we were and who we are becoming.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We all live in a world that prioritizes speed and efficiency above almost everything else. We are constantly encouraged to optimize our travel, to hack our schedules, to get from point A to point B as frictionlessly and as fast as possible.
Everything has to be instant.
But in optimizing our physical movement so ruthlessly, we often entirely neglect our psychological transit. We all need our own night trains. We need spaces where we can just exist, suspended between the chapters of our lives without having to defend our history or obsessively plan our future.
If we do not actively carve out these liminal spaces for ourselves, we risk arriving at our destinations hollowed out, carrying the stress and the armor of our departure points with us indefinitely. The slowness is not an inefficiency to be optimized away. It is a vital processing period.
Think about the Evermoor in your own life. That physical place, that specific state of mind, or that one relationship where you feel you truly, deeply belong. When was the last time you allowed yourself a slow journey to get there, instead of rushing to the destination and arriving exhausted?
It's a great question to ask yourself.
And what melodies, what ideas, what parts of yourself are remaining unfinished in your life right now, simply because you haven't given yourself the quiet, insulated transit time required to actually hear them? Just imagine standing on that empty platform at Marrowgate Station.
Just waiting.
The amber windows are glowing in the dark, the snow is falling, the train is